Let's talk about the emotional needs lesson, the basics. We will not have our needs met by everyone all the time. Isn't that a truth? Not everyone can meet every need we have 100% of the time. It is okay to question ourselves, to wonder, am I enough? That is okay. That is normal. And we will all have hard days, hard weeks, and hard months. It's how we deal or cope with it that really matters. The breakdown. So there are 12 basic human needs that every human has. In fact, it might be something that you don't really realize that you need. But as a human, we have these 12 basic needs, and they're everything from respect to validation, from trust to encouragement. And we need our students and our kids to understand that those 12 basic needs are just that. They're basic and they're human. So there's nothing wrong with needing those things. But here's another truth that's very important for them to understand. That even those who are the closest to us will not meet those needs 100% of the time. This is when your story will be so vital. Maybe share with them a time when you and your spouse had a disagreement about a basic need that you had or that your spouse had and it wasn't being met. Maybe share about a best friend relationship, a friendship that maybe had to take a time off because of a basic need that was not being met. It's true. We're not going to have those things met all the time, even by and especially by those that we are closest to. And when those needs aren't being met, we question ourselves. It's very natural. We start wondering, is it me that is bad? Is it me that is unlovable? Is it me that doesn't deserve respect? And our students are getting that on a daily basis. They're being thrown all kinds of insecure thoughts that make them question, am I really enough? And do I have what it takes to be enough? They need to know that that's a very natural thing. In fact, when those questions come at us, mostly by our mind and the circumstances that affect that can cause all kinds of hurt. Those questions can cause all kinds of anger. They can cause sadness. They can make our emotions be super unstable, it's going to seem like. And our students, our kids, they need to know that those questions are okay to ask of ourselves, and the emotion is also okay to feel. Many times we tell our students, you need to get over that real quick. You need to just brush that off. And yes, there's an element of that that's true. There's an element that we don't need to always wear our feelings on our shoulders, right? But there's also an element where validating that emotion is super important. A good friend of mine just told me just recently in relation to a conversation I was having with my daughter. And my friend said something I thought was so interesting, and she had heard it from someone else, I'm sure. But to get into that emotion before you speak logic. Isn't that good? Our kids need to know it's healthy to feel like that. But here's the kicker. If you don't hear another thing on this video, I hope you hear this. It is how we deal with those emotions that matter. Did you catch that? The emotion is not wrong. The emotion is not appalling. It is how we deal with that emotion that makes all the difference. So there's a couple of ways that we can help our students, maybe even help ourselves, deal with that emotion, with that feeling in a positive and a healthy way. First way is to be proactive. What's it mean to be proactive? It means to do something before something happens, right? We are proactive in a lot of different things we do, so why not be proactive in how we're going to handle emotions that come at us that we don't know what to do with? A couple of ways that can help you, help your student possibly be proactive is to Know your trigger. Communicate to your kid about triggers. What are they? Well, a trigger is usually is a noun, so it's a person, a place, or a thing. It might be a place that they go that puts them in a bad headspace. It might be a thing that they participate in that puts them in a bad spot. Or sometimes it can be a person. Have you thought about that? Have you thought about that? Maybe your student, maybe you yourself have one of your triggers is a person. Being able to recognize what my trigger or what my triggers are is healthy. And yeah, we may not be able to avoid them, but we can learn to cope with that. Someone that will help us with that is the second thing. Know your trigger. The second thing is establish or find a safe person. I'm not talking about locking ourselves up at night being safe, but I'm talking about that person or those people in your life or in your student's life who they can completely unpack everything that they are. Be raw, be vulnerable, be real, and that person accepts them. That person loves them. And here's another really important thing about that person. They will ask the hard questions. They won't just, whenever I come to my safe person, if I come to my safe person and I say, I'm having that bad headspace time again, I'm feeling those feelings, I'm not doing well, my safe person doesn't look at me and say, that stinks, you wanna go get a Coke? No. They say, okay, Jamie, let's work through this. And they might ask hard questions. They might take us to go see a counselor. They might take us to go see, a pastor or a good friend that helps us talk through that. They don't leave us in that negative headspace. Do you have a safe person? And if you do, share that person. Share who that is with your student. Help them see that this is who this person is, and I know without a shadow of a doubt that they have my back and that they won't let me stay in a bad spot. Those are two ways to be proactive. The second way that we can deal in a healthy way with those emotions that are negative is to battle reactive. Think about the word reactive, right? It means we're reacting to something that has already happened. While I'm recording these, we're in the middle of COVID-19, right? A lot of what we as a society, as a nation, even as a world are experiencing right now is the emotion of how to deal with this virus in a reactive way. Even if I never get the virus, even if no one I love or care about gets the virus, we're still in the middle of this learning to react to something that already happened. Your student needs to know how to do that. Two things that are really important about battling reactively. First is their go-to activity. What is that thing, that activity that they can go to and let their brain reset? It can be as simple as taking a nap. It can be going and shooting hoops. It can be going for a run or a walk. It can be listening to music that calms them and that puts them back into that good spot in their head. Talk about what is it that we can go to as a family or as an individual, whatever, that puts us, kind of resets us. And the second thing about this battle reactive and about that go-to activity, I had a student a year or so ago say this. I should have got her name. I know it was a female student. I should have got her name and had her copyright this because it's so great. And we were explaining this whole activity thing, and she said, would you say that go-to activity is like a pause button? And I was like, what do you mean by that? And she said, well, when I do my activity, I don't remember what hers was, but when I do that, I still have to come back to my problem. I said, exactly right. She said, so it's almost as if that activity just hits pause, just puts everything kind of in pause mode, helps me reset my mind, and I can think clear. And way to go, right? That basically this little go-to activity my shooting hoops, my taking a nap, my journaling, whatever it is, that pause, that sets your brain on a pause, is simply to clear your head so that you're able to handle that emotion with healthy feelings, with healthy activity, with a clear mind. Maybe it gives you time to go find that safe person and say, hey, talk with me through this thing. I think that is so important. Be proactive, battle reactive, and I think we will start to see ways to cope in a more positive way. The bottom line, we will get hurt and we will hurt other people. Doesn't that teach us to show a massive amount of grace for each other? I'm gonna have a day and I'm gonna hurt your feelings, and you're gonna have a day and you're gonna hurt mine, and those basic needs are not gonna be met, but I'm gonna be grace-filled for you because you're gonna be grace-filled for me, right? Second thing, it is okay and healthy to feel. We need our students continuing to mature in this thing of being a human being and being a part of a society where they know it is completely good to feel. But what's the kicker? We want to deal with it in healthy ways. So we hope that was helpful. Let us know how we can help.